Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at some common beliefs about baby boomers and their retirement. And you might be surprised by what we find.
We're looking at a video by financial expert Phil Town. He debunks some pretty major myths about this generation and whether they're ready or not for retirement financially.
We're going to tackle 4 big myths and see why they might not be true. And we'll also touch on some possible solutions if you're feeling a little behind in your retirement planning.
If you're ready to really challenge some assumptions, maybe learn some valuable insights, well, then buckle up, because this is going to be an eye-opening deep dive.
Okay, so let's get into it. The first myth we're looking at is that boomers have tons of money saved in their retirement funds. But Phil Town says that 30% of boomers say they have absolutely no retirement savings.
And that's not even all. More than half of baby boomers aren't hitting those, those savings benchmarks that the financial experts suggest for a comfortable retirement.
That's a lot of people that might only have Social Security.
Sure.
And we all know that's not really enough to live on.
Right. It's meant to be like an extra on top of your savings, not replace them completely. So using it as your only income in retirement could really hurt your quality of life when you retire.
Myth busted. Which brings us to myth number 2. Boomers are debt-free.
Yeah.
You might think that they're paying off all their debt before retirement, but the truth is a little different.
It's actually baby boomers who have the second highest amount of debt out of all the generations, just behind Gen X.
Makes you think, where's all this money everyone's talking about? Going into retirement with a bunch of debt really limits your options and could even put your retirement plans at risk.
It's like starting a marathon with weights on. You're not going to have as much fun, and it's going to be a lot harder to finish.
And speaking of getting to the finish line, myth number 3 is about those safety nets we talked about, pensions and Social Security. The idea is that these will be enough to cover everything.
Boomers are more likely to have pensions than, say, millennials, but they're still counting on Social Security to help out. But Phil Town says these programs were never meant to be someone's only income in retirement.
Yeah, they were meant to just add to your savings, not be the whole thing.
It's like thinking you can furnish your whole house from just yard sales. I mean, yeah, you might find some good stuff, but you're going to have a lot of empty rooms.
You need that base of your own savings to build on. Let's move on to myth number 4. This one is that boomers are experts in the stock market. You'd think all that experience and money would make them pros on Wall Street.
But what's interesting is that the 2008 crash seems to have really changed how they invest. A lot of boomers got scared by how the market went down, and they haven't really gone back in.
It's like they went for a swim, got splashed in the face, and decided to just stay on the beach.
It makes sense, though, right? I mean, the stock market going up and down can be scary, especially when you're close to retirement. But if you completely avoid the market, you could miss out on your savings growing more.
It's tough, wanting to protect your money, but also needing it to grow enough to last through retirement.
Which leads to the big question. Is there any hope for those boomers who feel like they're behind on saving for retirement?
The answer is yes. Phil Town says it's not too late for baby boomers to build wealth even quickly if they use the right strategies.
And the important thing here is time. Boomers don't have as much time as, say, someone just starting out, but they still have some. Every day counts, and the sooner you start, the better chance you have to build your money.
So he's not saying to give up and accept a bad retirement. He's saying there's still time to fix it if they're willing to work at it.
Exactly. It's about being proactive, taking control, and knowing what options you have.
So what does this active investing look like? What's he saying boomers should do to catch up?
Well, Phil Town is a big fan of something he calls rule #1 investing, which is basically finding those great companies in the stock market that are worth more than their price shows because they have, strong basics.
So instead of just spreading their money around and hoping for the best, he wants boomers to be more involved in their investments.
Right. It's about doing your homework, knowing the companies you're putting money into, and making smart choices based on good research, not just what's popular.
So we've busted 4 myths about baby boomer retirement and talked about a possible solution. Now let's look closer at this rule #1 investing thing and see how it works. It sounds like it could be a lot for someone new to all this.
It does. You do have to know a bit about finances and be willing to learn. But the good news is Phil Town gives you a lot of help to learn this way of investing.
So it's not like become a Wall Street expert overnight. It's more like giving you what you need to make smart decisions.
Exactly. And it's really important to realize that Learning about money, it never really stops. It's always changing. You're always learning.
And that's not just for boomers, is it? Anyone can use this, no matter how old they are.
Absolutely. This whole idea of taking control of your money, understanding the good and the bad, and finding what you need to make good choices, that's for everyone.
We've talked about a lot. And it seems like what's really happening with boomers in retirement is a lot more complicated than what people say.
Right. We're not trying to scare anyone, but we want people to do something. It's never too late to look at your money, find someone who can help, and make a plan that works for you and what you want in retirement.
But what about those boomers who are really starting from nothing? Can they really catch up if they don't have much time?
That's a tough one. Some people might have to make big changes to how they live or even work longer,
Non-easy choices. And probably not what they thought retirement would be like.
which is why it's so important to plan early. But even if you're in a tough spot, there are still things you can do.
Like they say, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. But the next best time is today.
That's it. You have to accept where you are now, make good choices, and look at all your options. There might be more than you think.
So even though we busted some myths about baby boomers and retirement, we also gave some hope. It's not too late to take charge of your money.
And it's a good reminder that learning about money is something you do all the time. It's a skill you can get better at, no matter your age.
Totally. We've only touched on the basics here. If you want to know more about Phil Town's rule, #1 investing, yeah, it's nice to think of it that way. Like retirement's a new beginning, not just, slowing down.
Right. It's about seeing retirement in a new way, seeing all the things you can do when you have more time, and you're free to do what you want.
So for all of you listening, if you're feeling down about those myths about baby boomers and retirement, remember this. You can control what happens with your money more than you think.
It all starts with learning and doing. Take the time to learn about your choices, see what different ways of investing there are, and get help if you need it.
Don't let those myths stop you. Don't let fear or just not doing anything keep you from having the retirement you want.
You can decide what your money does. It's never too late to start taking charge.
And remember, retirement isn't just about the money. It's about enjoying life, doing things you love, spending time with people you care about, and making the most of every day.
That's what this whole deep dive has been about, giving you the knowledge and the push to make your retirement really meaningful.
So we busted those myths, we talked about the hard parts, and we saw that there are good things too. Now it's your turn to do something.
What will you do today to start building the retirement you want? What will you learn about? What dreams will you follow?
This is your deep dive, your journey, your future. Make it count.
And if you want to know more about Phil Towns, that rule #1 investing he talks about, watch his whole video or maybe even do your own deep dive on it.
It's got a lot of good stuff in it if you want to manage your money better and have a safer future.
It is. It's all about knowing more and doing something with that knowledge.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into baby boomers and retirement. We hope you learned something useful and feel hopeful about your own money and your future.
Remember, it's never too early or too late to start planning for a retirement that fits what's important to you and what you want to do.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.